Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League. That's okay, you can clap. That's good. We like clapping. Back with Todd as well, who's with me from that first game. What did you make of that first game, just before we go into game two?
You mean the first match overall?
Yeah.
Grubby tried stuff and it didn't work out. This is what I was expecting out of the series, in a way where I knew that Grubby was going to have to try something. I wasn't sure what he was going to try exactly, and it was a little bit different overall than what I thought.
I mean, he's not a spectacular player, Jack. We've said that before, but he's so good.
He is spectacular.
He's so good at everything that he does. He hasn't got any weak spots. So do you think that's maybe why Grubby struggled a little bit in that first game and, like you said, had to try something maybe a little bit wild?
Okay, I think everybody has a weak spot. Yeah. And I think finding Jack G is actually very, very hard. I don't know if anybody is going to be able to do it in WCS Europe here, or even if he was to go to BlizzCon later on. So Grubby tried to find some holes in his defense. He tried to find some timings he could hit, tried to find some strategy to surprise him. But as I said, this is so hard with somebody like Jack G. And as much as I said that the DTs, everybody's figured them out now and they never do much, they did quite well in that game.
No,
and it was another move that brought him back in the first game.
Absolutely. Amazingly, Jack G now has 70 wins in the last 93 against Protoss, the only player with a better TVP for a Terran is Polt in the world. It's pretty staggering.
And he dare say that Terran is not bad and not good?
I think he did say that, yes. We're going to move on to our second game. So let's show you all 4 players who are participating in Group B right now. You've already seen 2 of them, of course, but there are still 2 more to come. One is from France. Dayshi, the 19-year-old, is the youngest man in the round of 16, and Snoot, returning to Europe for the first time in almost 12 months after a stint in WCS America. These 2 are the ones we're going to concentrate on right now. It's an interesting matchup, this one, for a number of reasons. Snoot, statistically, it's its weakest matchup, and Dayshi's it's his best matchup. So on paper, you look at that, and head-to-head, they're 3-2 right now in favour of Snoot. But that also includes team leagues, which actually Dayshi has won both games in. Only they're best of ones, obviously. He's never beaten Snoot in a best of 3 or a best of 5. I don't know if that makes any difference right now, or whether he's even thinking about it. But he's been in great form. We spoke to Kalaris earlier. Round of 32, 2-1 victory over San was a huge result for him, and 2-0 versus Mini Rays. It shouldn't be ignored either. From your point of view, you played him recently, and you beat him as well in the Francophone Cup.
Yeah.
What sort of shape?
Research.
I did do my research.
For once you talk about one of my wins, yes.
I did talk about one of Todd's wins. It's, record that one, replay it back. He'll stick that one on his CV. What sort of shape is he in, honestly?
I don't want to kill the hype, but Dayshi has had some problems recently. He's walked out a little bit too hard. He did some climbing, so his arms were hurting, and he wasn't playing good. But again, this is the most important tournament of the recent times, so he's been focusing on this. He's been focusing on his recovery, and it's going to be interesting to see what he comes up with and if he plays his standard play, which I think Dayshi is one of the best Terran versus Zerg in Europe by far. At some point, I even thought he was the best. Earlier this month, Story Cup, they faced in the quarterfinals. Looking at the bracket, there was no Protoss on the side of the bracket of Dayshi. I thought for sure he was going to the finals. Snoot put the stop to him. He was in great shape himself. It was 3-2. Imagine how close
it was
of
really
a
close
series they played. And then Snoot won the tournament. So I'm pretty sure that a similar Snoot is going to show up here, and it's going to be very, very strong. So my eyes, they are going to be turned towards Dayshi. Can he be the Day Show? Because you know that's what we nickname him. Because show means hot in French, so he's going to be the Day Show.
Yeah, I got that one. I think everyone else did as well. Let's take a quick look at the bracket for those of you who are just joining us. Where have you been? You've missed the first match. Jack G going through against Grubby by 2-0 in the end. 2 very interesting games, as we've already said. The winner will go through from Snoot and Dayshi to play Jack G for that place in the round of 8 and join our 2 men that joined them yesterday, which of course was MMA and Vortex. All of those are on the VODs. You can pop back there right now. StarCraft2.com/WCS. Before we get into this game, I need a prediction from you. Kalaris is, 100% right now. Who did you go for yesterday? Be honest. It was MVP, wasn't it?
Why do you like to put me on the spot like this? Of course it was MVP.
It's the first time James has enjoyed a 100% record after 1 day of group play.
No, it's not going to last.
We'll just give him that for today.
It's not going to last.
Okay, so who do you think out of these 2? I mean, Hart probably says Dayshi, Head says Snoot. Would that be fair?
Yeah, and I'm sorry to my French mates, but I think Snoot definitely the favorite here. But again, my eyes are going to be turned towards Dayshi, and especially what he does, because we know his usual style, but because of his current condition, he's going to play the same way. We'll see.
All right. Thank you very much, Todd. We are about ready for our first map veto of this second game. It is Dayshi versus Snoot, two brand new members of the WCS Europe round of 16 club. Which one's going on to face Jack G in the upper bracket final? Let's find out with our commentary team of Kalaris and Apollo.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Let's get into our next series. TVZ, I'm looking forward to this. We don't get to see too much of it. Vortex breezed through yesterday, though, with that matchup. And now we'll see if Snoot could do the same.
Yeah, for me, looking at this matchup, it reminds me a lot of Vortex versus MMA in the regard that both of these players on screen, it's like their favorite matchup. We know that Dayshi's great and loves to play against Zerg, but we also know that Snoot's a destroyer when he plays against Terran 2. I know he's been focusing heavily on Protoss recently, as his Zerg versus Zerg has always been up the top, but so's his Terran. And I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a very standardized game, I'd imagine, and just a really good, mechanically driven game. I'm excited for this one. And
Youngsu gets taken away straight away there by Snoot.
Yeah, screw that map.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to put it, Sean. That really is.
It's difficult to play against a good Terran player because if you try to expand, wherever you take your third base, it's a small map. The rally points of a good Terran player are going to be there so fast. You've got great Widow Mine placements, and overall, you want a bit of room to breathe as a Zerg player, and that map doesn't really give you that.
Yeah, and likewise, to the same vein, Dayshi then removes Ultrazeme Stronghold because he knows how scary Snoot can be on a map once he has that breathing room. So that goes away.
And you got to think about Snoot's playstyle. It's a little bit different to a lot of other Zergs, I would like to think, in this matchup. He plays very heavy layer. So we're going to see 40 Mulisks, probably about 30, 35, and also 1,000 Banelings throughout the game. He's going to use so many of them and will only ever go to Hive if he's very comfortable where he can finish the game off, or if he needs to go there later on. So he's going to play a very defensive game, I would imagine, for the majority of it while he builds up that Mulisk count. And once he does, he will get +3 attack, man, and he'll fight Marines head-on with these Mules. He's crazy like that.
Well, Polar Knight comes out first, then Frost and to Heavy Rain finally. So, interesting map to open things up on Polar Knight with that. I think we've seen quite a lot of Snoot being pretty darn successful on that map. So if we look back to things like Seek Story Cup, etc. And Snoot now just taking his seat for this series. I'm looking forward to this. I am looking forward to this one.
I look at these 3 maps that they've chosen here and just saying, and I can already imagine that both of them are like, all right, I know what I'm doing on all 3 maps most likely here.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to do. Are my hands going to be working today properly? Because that's one of the most important things. Because of this matchup usually is so down to the wire when it comes to what you build and when you build. It just comes down to, can you execute properly today? And micro well as well.
And as you can see, during the WCS system as a whole, Snoot really hasn't entertained a whole lot of success in this matchup. It's really been focused around those Zergs and Protoss over in WCS America, for example, as well as other events he's been attending. So there is a little bit of a weak spot there, but that's not to take away from him, because we have seen this guy devour people like Jack G, for example, just doing pretty well for himself. And then likewise, on the other side of things, we have Dayshi, who has had a lot of success in this matchup. He has been an absolute killer. Not to mention, just Jaedong about a few weeks ago, 2-1 in the Wear Invitational.
Yeah, it's good to see Dayshi here. Daishi's been such a massive up-and-comer for about a year now or so. He's had a really good 2013, putting his name on the map. He's rising to the top of the French scene. Of course, Todd rivaling that position up there. And he's just been having a good, successful run and enjoying himself while doing it as well. But this, for the first time, is him entering the real deal, the big scene right now. He's on stage. He's about to play a phenomenal player, considered one of the best in Europe right now. And there's thousands and thousands of eyes upon Dayshi, who's not really used to having that kind of exposure. And it's going to be a real test to him to see how well of a developed player he is. But Dayshi is going through some condition problems recently, which could hinder his performances today. This guy, though, Snoot, has got so much experience now. He's a couple of years back was considered one of the best then, and then, 6 months ago, he thought about retiring, and he's just gone through so many different phases in StarCraft. But it's happy to see him performing well once again.
It's, for Snoot, I mean, he really does sit atop the Zerg pile in Europe, but there's so many contenders to that position as well now. You've got people like TLO playing extremely well. You've got people like Vortex, we just saw yesterday, playing really well. So the European Zergs have really taken on this level of their own, and Snoot is one of them. Snoot is right up there. I won't be surprised if he performed fantastically today.
And the best part about this matchup is that they've played against each other so much in the last year or two. The overall record is very similar, actually. I think it's 3 series to 2 in favor of Snoot. Originally, it was easy wins for Snoot against Dayshi as Dayshi was up and coming, but then Dayshi started to fight back, most notably in the Acer Team Story Cup that we've seen so much of. Doing well for his team, Dayshi Millennium. And then they played that very close series, which Todd talked about just a week or 2 back at Seat Story Cup. It went to the 5th game. And Todd mentioned that it could have been Dayshi's tournament if he'd been able to go through Snoot there. He's good in Terran versus Terran. He's great versus Zerg. So it's good to see these 2 players face off again.
Oh, we're getting loaded up now into game number 1 here. Polar Night will be our map between Snoot and Dayshi. And as I said, I'm looking forward to this because just of how good they are in the respective matchups right now. So let's get into it. Our second best of 3 series. As Snoot transitions over from WCS America. It's a mean feat indeed, but he has done it. And we have Dayshi now, our arguable newcomer to these heights, as we have him spawning down to the southern position as our red Terran representing Millennium. It's Dayshi.
Making his run in the WCS circuit this year.
Like to see more of him. Certainly would. And up to the north position as our blue Zerg representing Team Liquid. It's Snoot.
Who in 2013 surprisingly finished 61st in the entire season last year. Not the highest, but he switched regions now. And we are going to see a 2-racks here from Dayshi to open this up. And this may be something to really catch Snoot off guard here. Let's see how much of a commitment is this. Is this going to be 11-11? Is it 12-13? The differences are rather big. Looks like it is going to be 11-11, so a full commitment coming out from Dayshi, getting right up close of these barracks. And he's going to open up this with a bang.
I'm really not surprised by this because of what I was speaking to Dayshi before. He didn't feel that confident against Snoot with be it his condition or be it just playing against Snoot because he is really on form right now. So this is an opening here for Dayshi. If he's able to sneak out that hashtag cheeky little win at the beginning, that could be a really good start for him in this series.
We're going to have to see some good marine control here. It shouldn't be scouted. This should be perfectly placed where unless Snoot somehow changes his pathway with this overload, which shouldn't be the case. He's got it rallied and waypointed there. He isn't going to spot this, so this should be pretty good for Dayshi. The first time Snoot will realize something's going on, by the way, it's a 16 opponent pool, not a 15 or 14, so a couple of drones squeezed in there before it coming down. He's only going to realize once he sees the supply depot without a barracks next to it. And then he may be like, did he go commence at a first? And then the overlord may tilt a little bit to the left to have a look on the natural to see if it's just planted down immediately. But already alarm bells are going to be ringing because this is not right.
It certainly
He sees a
isn't.
second supply depot and just immediately knows. So he's got drones pulled off and he knows what's going on. Can he defend against it?
2 already at the front. This SCV comes along to greet them as well as Dayshi now continues to apply this little bit of pressure earlier on using that first SCV as the buffer. Starts to bring up a bunker and gets himself a first drone, but this is a very, very heavy committal here from Snoot as he brings down even more drones, tries to force the cancellation of that bunker. At least he gets the SCV. That's a really good start there for Snoot.
He's already picked off 3 drones here. A 4th one's going to go down. The bunker does get cancelled, but rebuilt now. 4 drones down. Spinecrawler being made here. And notice Snoot's not going for Queens at all. It's just Ling and Spinecrawler defense. Here come the SCVs to support now.
That's quite a lot of buffering indeed. Another drone does end up falling. That Spinecrawler being forced to cancel is a big deal here for Snoot. He needs every second he can get to have a Spinecrawler up and running to help out these Lings. Also, that bunker getting quite close to finishing as well. He hasn't really turned around to actually deal with it. He's just going straight for the Marines and the SCVs.
Nice
this is great control by Dayshi.
Yeah, great control, and it looks like he's going to get this one done here. And it's a great start against Snoot, who probably is the favorite coming into this, but it's going to be Dayshi who walks away with map number 1 here. GG. Dayshi, you sneaky little Frenchman. Yeah, you soaked that egg. Yeah. Map 1, that's yours, sunshine. Viva la France.
And that's a great start for him considering how he came into this series. There's just a little bit of a perk up compared to what we were seeing there. Hey, look at him. See?
You like that, son? You like that taste of victory? So sweet after the loss. He can't hear us, obviously.
No.
It's so funny after the loss that he had. And the best part about all of this, actually thinking about it, is that they were both in the studio yesterday for WCS. They came in early, they were here watching the games, chilling out, and it's really funny because they've been hanging out with each other quite a lot. They've been talking about the games, sitting next to each other. They were hanging out today as well, practicing next to each other. And then when it comes to the real deal, Dayshi's like, I'm going to 2-rex you. And I'm going to win.
Dude, if I was a pro gamer and I was in that situation, hanging out with the guy all day long, I think I couldn't keep it in. I'd let it slip my gameplay. I'm like, wait, no, I didn't mean that.
Imagine Dayshi was like, yeah, you know, I used to 2-rex a lot, but I don't do it anymore. The overlords and...
Mind games.
Yeah, hashtag mind games. But whatever the case, he's been able to pull it off on the stage. Map number 1. But now we are going to get a fired up Snoot who immediately enters the game. Oh, you cheeky guy. Oh, I love that. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I like to see.
It's all getting going here.
It is. And imagine if Snoot just was looking over the monitor and saw Dayshi look at the camera and then wink. He's like, oh my God, I hate you so much right now.
He's such a charmer. Even with his accent and everything. I want the interview with Dayshi so that we can hear his lovely accent.
I should invite Dayshi to England to hang out with some friends and use his French accent charm. The ladies would
be
melt.
The ultimate wingman. Dayshi. Yeah. With his accent, lovely. All
Show
right.
the ladies how you dance like those Marines, my friend.
Stood a step it back. All right, let's get into game number 2 as we have Frost Armor between Dayshi and Snoot. Snoot going down 1 game early on. Let's see what's going to happen here as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner, our red Terran representing Millennium. It's Dayshi. And up to the top left-hand corner are blue Zerg. Down 1 game in a bit of a predicament. Representing Team Liquid, it's Snoot.
All right, these positions that they've spawned in, cross-position Frost, I feel is really difficult for a Terran player. I mean, it's you don't really... It does come into factor. I'm going to say it doesn't really come to your mind, but it does. Cross position is really difficult because imagine if Snoot was in the bottom left. The 4 bases are like in this cone shape, which you can defend quite easily. The medivac drops are going to come from one side or the other, so it's very focused. But with this here, in these positions, it's a lot more difficult for Snoot. A lot more difficult.
And this first Overlord being sent in such a direction is seemingly just to scout for something that will be in the middle. If he saw something straight down the middle, that's the only realistic place that Dayshi could do anything funky. So, bit of a change up here from Snoot, just making sure he's crossing all his T's and dotting all his I's.
Yeah, he's going to have a quick look in the middle of the map with that Overlord. But yeah, I think Dayshi's going to be really fond of these positions because Dayshi's 4 bases are really easy to do. He'll expand south initially for his 3rd, and then we'll probably take the north one with a planetary fortress, and that's just locked down up there.
Yeah.
But then Snoot, who will also have 4 bases on his side of the map, but it's really close to the Zelnaga Tower. So it's going to be quite easy for Dayshi to rally over there, and if he gets a bit of momentum, it will carry strong in these positions.
Yeah, so very good spots to start off here for Dayshi in game number 2. He's already got that 1 game lead. Can he carry it on? He's going for the command center into barracks. Very, very economical opening here. Complete difference compared to game number 1. And Snoot now, well, likewise, he gets away with his hatchery first. So really not a whole lot of pressure that can be put on from there, but we already have the gas on the way for Dayshi.
Interesting to see Dayshi open up command center. Don't really see that too often from him, or at least the games I've seen. He usually goes Reapers, but just going command center is fine here. It does allow Snoot with a bit more breathing room, because he doesn't need to deal with the Reapers and the fast Hellions that can come from the follow-up of opening barracks first. And looks like he just wanted to squeeze out an extra drone there, which used the extractor trick to do so. And he's playing gasless. Dayshi goes in and says, oh, okay, cool, gasless style. But because of the overlords that Snoot sent out, he has no scouting information right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where his opponent is or what he's doing. He will, by process of elimination, find out when that overlord gets all the way to the bottom right.
And it's the small things that really define these players at the highest level. I mean, that drone scout, for example, going to the extractor to actually do that cancel so you could get the drone out. That's the drone that wasn't mining anyway. So it's more efficient for him to do it that way as opposed to pull one off mining in the main base and do it there. So very, very small, subtle things so far, but very important.
Do you think Snoot would play with roaches or banelings early? He's taken a gas that's pretty fast, 1 gas. Do you think he would do that? Do you think that's in his personality and his playstyle to do so? Or you think not?
I think that he could do it in these positions, given now that he probably understands where his opponent is, because he doesn't really see anything down in the bottom right-hand corner as well. Did he actually end up sending anything over there? No, he didn't. So, I mean, he could do. We could see that, but when I look at Snoot, I see more to the macro focus, right? To the very, very big mid game with good creep spread going out across and focusing that.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do it. I agree with what you say there. Snoot's not so much a player to do that unless he knows for certain it's possible, because he doesn't know about the third command center, doesn't know about anything really. This, for all he knows, this can be blue flame attack. So for the time being, this is a very standard opening here from Dayshi. Third command center down. Pretty fast second gas though. That's the only difference towards a regular style from Dayshi, which would suggest he's looking towards going for a Banshee, which is the starport coming in with that tech lab on the barracks here. But meanwhile, Snoot, he's got gas for speed. He'll probably want to throw down double evolution chamber. And notice how he's adding on an additional queen, an additional 2. So very queen heavy. There's strengths and weaknesses for this. It's really good for keeping Hellions back off creep, if they just tackle with the queens, transfuse, push them back. But if Dayshi gets brave and decides to run past the queens, because they are still slow even on creep, unless Snoot makes a wall, then there is a potential that Dayshi could run these Hellions right past, get to the drone lines.
And there is, of course, that wall being implemented at the front of that natural, so it's going to be a bit harder for him to really get up there. I really do enjoy watching heavy queen play from these players.
Oh, Dayshi's gone straight for stim, by the way. Didn't decide to go Banshee. Just straight stim, and then double engineering right behind it. I thought he'd maybe switch up, but that's a standard.
Big read. Big read here from him.
And the first couple of lings are going to get picked off here. 1-1 has started here. Snoot doesn't even know about if it's second gas cloak Banshees or not because of the way these overlords are positioned, and there's a Marine stopping an overlord going in. So he's very much in the dark. And when you're trailing like this 0-1, you're obviously scared. He's actually getting Numanized Carapace because he needs to find out. Is it cloak Banshees in Blue Flame? What the hell is going on? And he's getting his overlords picked up before he could even find out.
That's a little bit of a shame for him. Those were prime opportunities for him to actually jump in. He's got one down at the bottom right-hand corner, so he can use that without that Viking eventually getting there and killing it off. But Roachwarren's going to start here.
And notice how there's no layer.
Yeah.
It's a really, really late layer. Really late. Is he looking to do some kind of Roach? I mean, he might be just building the Roaches for safety reasons here, but if there was Cloak Banshees, he would have been in trouble. Maybe the Vikings tipped him off that there isn't going to be Banshee. Obviously, you wouldn't build a Viking if you were going Banshees here, but late layer.
He had 4 Overlords in production there, so he could be making quite
I think it's just because he's losing a lot of Overlords to the Viking.
You got a good point.
And he pokes in now and is finally going to see what's going on. Lair should start, and Balin Nest not too far away either. Roachwarren probably safety, and I think he's just a little bit worried. So much lack of information that he's gathered throughout all of this.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good read on that. And with plenty more drones on the way to transfer down to that third base, with the creep spread that he already set up from that abundance of queens he had before, he's pretty well defended there.
I mean, look at the supply difference. Snoot's played a very greedy game in terms of, like, that was a late layer. He's been very heavy on drones, very low on units. He only has 14 lings out. The Hellions haven't threaded in that much. He's got his queen spread and creep, which is fantastic, by the way. Great creep spread already by Snoot. Some additional lings being brought in now after going up to 80 drones already, by the way, which is a very, very high drone count here.
Yeah, this is a cool play here from Snoot, and this is what we were saying before. This is the Snoot that you think of when you think of Snoot. This is him just spreading creep through the middle. It's already at the halfway mark at 10 minutes, pretty much on the dot. That Overlord and the Naturals trying to get information.
Yeah,
and
12 Bailings being morphed here. Around the 11-minute mark is when the first push can come out from a Terran player with the first 2 Medivacs, so he's building his Bailings ready for that. Did skip 2-2, so it is a little bit safer to get these Bailings out, but he actually gets a wraparound before the Medivacs are there. Dayshi a little bit greedy, moving on to creep before the Medivacs were there to support him, and he loses a lot, and this is fantastic news for Snoot.
That's very, very good indeed. Those Bailings moving forwards, they don't have
He's just going to attack.
hooks.
He's got 22 lings on the way.
Yeah.
He just built 22 lings. He's just going to attack because that was a lot of units just died off.
Even without centrifugal hooks here, and despite starting that right as the layer finished, it doesn't really matter. This is still a great trade here for Snoot. Although it was a good split by Dayshi in the end anyway. He killed off so many workers at that third.
He needs Widow Mines right now, but he's only just finished up with a factory here. And Snoot's greed really paying off in terms of going straight up to a fantastic economy immediately and then rushing out the units. And rushing out the Overlords as well has so much potential supply. The creep spread is ridiculous.
He never stops. He never lets up. The Marines trying to push in here to push these queens away at least But even that gets deterred by the amount of lings, the sheer numbers that we're seeing here from the swarm of Snoot.
It's just ridiculous here. Snoot's actually going to walk over this third base soon.
Oh, nice focus fire onto that Baneling. We'll push away those Zillings for now, but now the Mutalisks begin. So it's just problem after problem. By the time he ends up pushing away this creep, he's like, yeah, I've done that. The Mutalisks swing into the back if he really wants to.
Yeah, and turrets have been skipped because he's been so proactive in this game. He's actually not got the turrets down soon, so that could be a potential threat. Creep spread finally being cleared out there, but it will take a long time to disappear here. And that Medivac down south and north, he sees both of them. So if you send your Lings and Banelings maybe one way and then the Mulus the other, you should be able to cover both of these.
Yeah, he'll be completely fine and dandy. And actually, he's just going to send everything up to the north. Oh no, he does still have quite a few units down to the south.
And this is just, gifting units here.
Easy peasy.
Almost.
Yeah, so Snoot's really, really well set up right now. He's got his 2-2 on the way at a very, very similar time to Dayshi's. I think, with the creep spread, he could technically hold on in the middle of the map and get a quick hive if he wanted to, but that's always a little bit of a risk. Don't want to be doing that too preemptively against a player like Dayshi, who now with his production is going to be ramping things up.
And comes in to save those guys. What a nice friend that Dayshi is. Hasn't, I don't think, got the second factory, which is probably the only structure missing so far. Just throw it, because he needs drilling claws to actually get the Widowmines borrowed faster or to add in Thors here. Widowmines pretty good position. Oh, they're not borrowed. I thought they were borrowed.
Oh, it just seems like he's one step behind every single time here as the Zerglings and Banelings once again move forwards with the Mutalist support. That's so many Banelings that just come in for the reinforce, and he's 40 supply up right now. Snoot is making game number 2 look simple.
Yeah, just a really solid game from Snoot. Minimal mistakes, fantastic drone count immediately. He's rolled over this one, and there's been a couple of supply blocks, a couple of production mistakes from Dayshi, and the difference is wild.
Dude, rolled over is certainly the word for that one. That third base completely gets rolled. Now he's laying waste to the front of the door. There's nothing really here that Dayshi has to be able to hold up against this. Constant macro here from Snoot, really flying forwards. GG, he ties up the series 1-1.
And that's a scary second game from Snoot, considering that the first one, if you look at how they won their games, Dayshi wins it with the 2 racks and Snoot just goes crazy and destroys the second game. We won't see any more games on Frost today because the whole map blew up with Snoot's game there. And Dayshi's got to be like, oh god, Snoot is in good form. And going over to the last map, it's I think it's Heavy Rain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. I really can see, though, now why Dayshi was a little bit apprehensive going into this series, because that was powerful. That was really powerful there by Snoot. And now, I've got to wonder if Snoot is able to go through Dayshi here. Oh boy, am I looking forward to that Jackshi Snoot game if that happens.
It would be a good one. Dayshi's not out for the count yet, though. Heavy Rain. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind this for both sides, really.
Do you think Dayshi here tries something a little bit more aggressive,
I think
gimmicky?
He goes to Reapers, just Reapers. Yeah. I don't think he tries anything gimmicky because Snoot is a player who will prepare defensively for a lot of things. Like, he got the Overlord speed in that game. He got Roach Warren down in case he needed it. Trying to play sneaky against Snoot, I don't think is going to work so much, especially the way he's been playing recently. And even both Tilo and Snoot, they disagree on a lot of things, but I think they agree that it's very important to scout out exactly what's going on at all points, even though Snoot had a very hard time at that because of his Overlord scoutings. Imagine if he saw what was going on throughout all of it. I think a Reaper opening here, it's good. Heavy Rain, you can poke up in a lot of different places. You can get to the drone line, you can get to the Queens, get to the Lings. Maybe just a standard game again from Dayshi, but Reaper opening, taking more control of the game, rather than allowing Snoot just to go straight up to 80 drones, which he did in that game pretty much.
Yeah, and I think in the end, with how the vetoes and picks went for these map orders, you've got to remember back to the fact that Snoot's veto was first, and thus his pick was first, meaning that this map was the last one to be picked from Snoot's mind from the last remaining 3. So that's certainly important to note here as these guys get into game number 3. Snoot's probably not as comfortable on this one as he would have been on Polar Knight, for example, despite the 2 racks actually hitting him. So let's get into it as we have spawning up to the northern position as our red Terran representing Millennium. It is Dayshi. And down to the south we have our blue Zerg representing Team Liquid. It's Snoot.
If we had to summarize that game, I think the best way to describe it as was a perfectly greedy and gotten away with greed, great execution with overlords and production for Snoot, compared to a guy who allowed greed to happen and got slowed down, supply block, lost units in the middle of the map to himself and made mistakes.
Yeah.
And Snoot ran away with it. That's simple. So for Dayshi to approach this next one, definitely just needs to take a stronger approach and grab this game a little bit harder, because he allowed Snoot to get away with way too much in that game.
I mean, the way in which Snoot played it, the 6-queen kind of defense push out of the creep with strong gas income behind it as well to get speed out for the defensive purposes, and then later on try out something was very strong. And look at this, Snoot is taking no chances here in game number 3.
Yeah, so spawning pool, for a lot of people who may be tuning in that have seen this and be like, wait a minute, what? Only guy I've seen do that is Tefl, and that guy just is obsessed with going for it. But spawning pool first is quite common nowadays in Terran versus Zerg. There's a couple of reasons for it. First of all, it's good versus 2-racks, and you can get instant wins almost from it. We've seen that happen in Pro League. I think Marine King just got wiped out against Life. Yesterday's games as well, Vortex just wiped out MMA, I think it was. And it's quite common in that regard to just get an instant win versus 2-racks. But also, if you go hatchery first over the spawning pool, you need to build 4 lings, and you may even lose a drone before the queen pops out. But with this, you don't even need to build lings, technically. You can build 1 set if you want to be safe, but you don't need to build any, which means you're actually building drones all the time, and then your queen pops out not to lose anything to the initial Reaper. So it almost equalizes out with a hatchery first with the added defense against 2-racks. So it's quite fine to do so.
Yeah, as long as you're really active about that queen control and making sure that you're zoning out effectively.
Yep.
It's a very nice defensive capability. As now Dayshi's just going to move across with... He's adding on a second Reaper.
It'll be 3 too. He's got 2 supply depots, 11 barracks, 11 gas, 3 Reapers.
Ah, okay, yeah, the 11, okay. So, yeah, it is still quite a lot of pressure. But unfortunately for him, he sees the queen and he's like, oh.
Yeah. The one thing you got to be careful of here is you've got to get the gas scout, which he didn't get on the other side yet. And there's also some weird roach plays that some Zergs do, so it's always good to know exactly where you are. And he goes in, spots the gas being built, so he knows that it takes 2 minutes for Zergling speed to finish once it's started. So he's got at least 2 minutes because he hasn't even started mining gas yet. So he can pretty much be on this side of the map for a long time in this game.
Yeah, and good special awareness by Snoot to bring his queen over to the right-hand side, assuming and preempting his opponent's movements.
Yeah.
But aside from that now, Dayshi still working away with these 2 Reapers. They will heal up and go in for another dive once they rendezvous with the 3rd.
Yep. And on Heavy Rain, if you look on the minimap, there's a massive black area in the Zerg's base, an unseen position. You can come up here, come around to the mineral line from right in the dark, and then go bop, 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 and that is drones being killed.
Yeah.
There's lots of maneuvers you can do on Heavy Rain, which is why Reapers are so popular.
But likewise, yeah, Snoot, he's already up to 3 queens. We might see him add on a few more. For now, he's just getting speed out and making sure that he's well and truly stable against this. But where is the queen? Okay, so...
And, you know, 1 queen is going to take a lot of damage. Remember that every little bit of damage he does to the queens here, he can follow with Hellion Harassment as well.
Yeah, and this queen is actually going to end up dying if he's not careful.
Oh, he's going to go for the kill. Good stuff for Dayshi. 1 queen, trying to get a drone, but isn't going to get one, and will get out with these 3. So pretty good there from Dayshi. A good start. Not ideal for Snoot to lose 1, but he does have Zergling speed on the way, and it's not that far away. Not too far at all, so... Within the next 60 seconds or so, we'll be fine, about 7 minutes or whatever. And Snoot's got full scouting information going on too.
Yeah, and here comes the greedy play once again from Dayshi with that 3rd command center. So once he lands that down, he'll be in a good economical spot, but you've got to wonder exactly how much pressure Snoot's actually going to put on here.
A little bit of a mistake there, losing that. But it's time to go home with these Reapers. 3 is much more scary than 2, and also you should be expecting Zergling speed to be done soon. And if he stays out there, he could lose both Reapers, which is a disaster here. Zergling speed is seconds away. He needs to go home. He should have timed this out with the gas and seen that there.
After seeing the 3rd base, he's just going around and assuming that he doesn't have many.
Snoot is going to defend with just queens, but he's going to use these for a counterattack. And look how open Dayshi is.
Very much. This is kind of scary, actually.
Oh, this is really big. This is a big move, and he's going to miss it with the Hellions. Oh. He may have just seen it, but he didn't turn back. He turned back, but there's still going to be SCVs killed here.
All right, well, he needs to bring the supply depots up. Oh, no, that makes it all the more annoying.
And this just gives freedom for Snoot to drone to creep spread while killing SCVs. Perfect counter.
And whilst you're having all your attention focused on your main, you can't really be harassing anywhere else. This is really, really annoying here for Snoot. For Dayshi, whilst that third base is on the way down for Snoot, down to the bottom.
Yeah, he's got his 1-1 upgrades about to go through now, Snoot. He's got already 60 drones. He's got additional queens coming in to deflect against the Helms and Reapers again. 34 harvesters for Dayshi, who didn't really lose much, but he wasn't really building that many SCVs. I didn't see if he was supply blocked at all. Maybe he was for a little bit, but his overall SCV count's low, his engineering bays are late. You're not meant to have 250 gas in the bank. Let's just put it this way when you're going for this style.
This is a scary spot here for Dayshi. He needs to do something. He's going to try and deny a little bit of this creep, but even if he does, there's still a lot of power behind the creep, potentially for Snoot to continue on with that. It's very hard for Dayshi to really cover all the angles of this creep and pressure.
There's so many drones out already, and with the lings that are on the map too, there's 8 of them, about to be about 18, 20. He can easily get a wraparound here on these units. He's got to be very careful here, Dayshi.
Yeah, no, like evacuation out in terms of medevacs or anything like that. No way, Jose. At this point, the factory's just landed off now, and are going to add on add-ons from there. But this creep is just doing well for Snoot.
And this Banshee's not going to do anything. So the investment thrown into the Banshee is wasted, I would suppose, because there's no cloak. There's 4 queens here, unless he finds an angle to get some damage done.
Yeah, even spores. The defense here for Snoot is just really well set up. That spine crawler just holding the fort in the middle. So despite that area being a huge open area where Dayshi could try and run by, it's not worth it at this point. He knows he'd be pinned in and killed off by Lings.
All right, so Snoot's finished droning now. He'll get ready to throw the spy down shortly, probably at the 4th base too. He's found a location to get some damage done with the Banshee, so he's going to get some value from this unit, which is good, because otherwise it would have been just a waste of money. And he's got quite a lot done. That's really nice. 5-6 drones.
Very good spot to find.
Queen's out of position here.
Catches the fact that the layer's just finished as well, so he'll be looking for any kind of tech opportunities that his opponent wants to go for.
Yeah, there's a couple of wild micro in that you can see that the production isn't really set up quite nicely yet for Dayshi, as he was controlling those that Banshee there. But he is getting into rhythm a little bit here. Does he have the armory finish yet, Kalaris?
I don't think so. He's just started.
That's not too bad. Yeah. But overall, Snoot, very comfortable. 73 drones, 2-2. Bangling speed on the way. Spire coming in. Very comfortable position. A little bit of a supply bot for there, though. It's a bit of a mistake. But overall, set up well. And Daishi's recovered quite well. So I wouldn't say it was the cleanest of starts for Dayshi, but he's starting to stabilize a little bit now. You can see by the supply count, his SCV count's pretty good again. He's going to have 2-2. He's going to build a lot of supply depots. He just gets supply blocked.
I'm kind of scared for Dayshi, though. If we see this game play out in the mid-game a similar way to how we saw game number 2, and we think about how well, in terms of how far the upgrades were along for Snoot compared to this one, Snoot could hit really hard with his 2-2.
Yeah, he's going to have quite a few Widow Mines placed well, and spread of units. He's getting into the creep spread nicely. And it's going to have a wraparound on these units, unfortunately. It's not so much about losing the Hellions, it's about keeping these Marines alive.
Yeah, and there's a lot more Banelings morphing in where the previous ones will come from, and does get the wraparound, and in the end forces the evacuation. But anything that Snoot can do to push his opponent away from his economy line is great, because he was already at the drone count that he wanted to for a long time.
There's no turret, so it's a bit of a weakness maybe for these Mutalisks if they go around somewhere. But overall, Snoot's got fantastic creep spread again. He's on 4 bases, just about. And he's got a good income. And remember that Snoot's playstyle, very heavy Mutalist, very heavy Baneling count. But Dayshi needs to keep this creep spread low and keep the pressure on his opponent.
I feel sorry for Terrence having to deny the creep spread on this map, though, because it's just so many avenues it can push down and then eventually agree on another location.
This is a brave move.
And those Widow Mines only caught a few Zerglings as they move forwards.
It's a brave move from Dayshi. He doesn't have that much units there.
Anything he loses here could just be followed up with a really powerful, strong attack with 2-2.
50 Lings. Yeah. Snoot's macro has been fantastic. That means he's hitting all his lava injects. He's got the extra production facility in the macro hatch. Daishi's got to be careful not to get run over, as you say. He's got combat shields finished now and got a couple of Hellbats which will help, but that's a lot of units that Snoot's been able to make.
If he knew how big a difference there is in these 2-2 upgrades, and Snoot's power here, right now, during this window is very, very strong indeed. He's waiting for these 11 extra Mutalisks to come out, though, getting up to that number that he feels more comfortable with, which is more the Snoot-esque style, as opposed to just hitting that timing flat out.
Yeah, Dayshi realizes he's a little bit weak at the moment. He's adding on a couple of bunkers here. There's not really any turrets around these bases, Glash. If these Mutalisks decided to fly around, Snoot just probably expecting there to be turrets. But that's a very good position for Snoot here. Very, very good. He's got a decent supply count. He's got a high Bailey count, high Mutalisk count. And Dayshi slowed this game right down. 4th command center's finished, so we want to take that shortly.
Yeah, and likewise, Snoot is preparing for later eventualities here, getting Burrow, making sure that he's protected on alternate routes to his base with burrowed banelings, etc. So for now, it looks as if things are just going to stabilize for both players and go. But Snoot's about to max out, so he could technically take a fight, but so is Dayshi.
Yeah, I think Snoot will try to bank rather than take a fight. It's really difficult off creep and a bunkered up player, so he'll just chill. He's going to get the infestation pit and go high from this point. If his opponent sits back, then he'll sit back. He'll take a 5th, which that drone is full, which might get killed or might not. But it's up for Dayshi to come to Snoot rather than the other way around. And I don't know how that's possible on this creep spirit.
No, he's just got to clean it up. Clean it up where he can. Dayshi now, unfortunately, a lot of his Marines get cleaned up just straight by Mutalisks. That's a really horrible trade there for Dayshi, who Snoot's willing to take these little engagements.
Yeah, and Dayshi's hopefully, with 2-2 here, got an army that can take a fight, but I think there's going to be a lot of Banelings morphed in a second. A lot of Banelings.
He's got to get to it.
30.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, a lot of Banelings.
Uh-oh.
So if Dayshi rushes down on creep and these Banelings get the right connections, then goodbye Dayshi. He's got to be very careful against that high count, especially because he's so low, if not empty. He is empty on Winter Mines. It has to be only splits. It's easier micro-wise because all you got to do is let the Hellbats attack move and then spread your Marines, but good God, he needs to spread well.
And his 3-3, his position of power for the Terra normally in this matchup is very far away. It's not going to be done anywhere near in time if Snoot actually wants to force the engagement.
Snoot may take a fight. Look how many Banelings he's got.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many Banelings.
Uh-oh. Well, Snoot, you do like explosions. We do like fireworks. Maybe we'll see some just second blue flame on those Hellions on the left-hand side trying to soak up a lot of those things. But all of the Marines get absolutely obliterated.
And now the Mutalisks go, all right, where are the Marines again?
They're nowhere to be found in that green goo Nickelodeon style. Oh, no. But at the same time, those Marines reinforcing will push this away. So he buys himself time, but there's 80 Lings in production.
Yeah. 80 Lings, and it's not about the 5th base, which is where Dayshi's pushing towards. It's about the 4th base. That base is just a hatchery right now. It's not being used, so it's not like he's broken any ground right now. But Dayshi, fair play to him, has got a 4th base up and running. He's replenishing. He's been able to mine from that base. It's not a planetary, which is a little bit, more greedy to have this orbital in place, but he's got it. He's in a decent position. Snoot isn't going up to Hive. He is at Hive, but not using anything from it right now. Just Banelings alone. He's going to take another fight here.
But that's the thing, right? With him taking that good trait, well, hold the phone, as those things are now going to run in once again. There's not as many Banelings with this fight as there were previously, but the Mutalist numbers are just still skyrocketing and shutting down everything.
4th base exposed for Dayshi here.
He's got very few units on the ground to help out.
He cannot allow this to have this happen. He needs this.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah. And now the supply, look at it, just plummets here. He needs that 4th, but it's not going to be mined from. And if it's going to be killed off, this is a very bad position to be in.
Lava Injects just flowing thoroughly here with lots of Lings still behind that. He actually didn't get the command center. It was very close.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a mishap there, but he just doesn't want to lose any of his Mutalisks. He wants that retention to be high so that he can then transition onto these Ultras much, much easier because he's already got the defensive capabilities in this mid-game.
And Snoop is playing this nicely. He's got his further upgrades coming in the Ultras cavern. He's re-spreading the creep through a different queen here, and he's still at a very high supply count. I mean, Snoot's on fire right now. We looked at Vortex yesterday and said he's playing well. So is Snoot, man. It's 1-1 on the scoreboard. That was a 2 rags, but in Game 2 and Game 3, Snoot is just on top of everything.
Looking to kill off that Thor underneath these medevacs as well with the Mutalist to alleviate all of that splash damage. In the end, Dayshi didn't do too badly in that engagement. He spread nicely, and Snoot was a little bit over-eager in the end, but
Yeah, Snoot's still only working off 4 bases, which I think he's just looking to finish the game. I mean, Snoot has that tendency, which can be called a weakness sometimes, or can be a strength, depending on which way you want to look at it, where if he's in a winning position, he just wants to end the game. And that's what he's trying to do. He's not looking at furthering his economy right now. All it is about is killing his opponent. Mulis are coming around the right-hand side here, and I think he's trying to slow down a little bit with the way that he's approaching this. But with the upgrades coming in and the Ultralisk being added on, it's not exactly easy for Dayshi to continue on, but you have to give Dayshi some credit too. He's played out a fantastic game in terms of always seeming to be on the back foot, playing against a guy who's got creep spread in your face.
It's knocking on the door. This is really scary here for Dayshi. Those Ultralisks very soon are going to be offering free hugs, and I'm not really sure that the bio is up for the chase.
Depends on the fight, the positioning. It is heavy rain. It is quite narrow, which means that it's better for the bio here that to be in a narrow position. 25 Banelings, 10 more on the way, and these upgrades are about to finish. It's about 40 seconds away. If Snoot can just get to 3-3, ideally, that would be the best position to be in.
One of those Ultralisk strays on forwards with this army. He has to pull that back. You're right.
Yeah,
those
big
Ultralisk
flank as well. If he comes down the left-hand side maybe, and then through the middle, it's a bit of a two-way attack from Snoot. Doesn't want to just go head-on, I don't think, unless he's able to get behind the bio with his Zerglings. Wow.
Yeah. That was ambitious. That was pretty ambitious.
The upgrades is very close here. Just a few seconds.
Just needs to stick around.
15 seconds or so. He's got the clamp ready from 2 sides.
The creeps bought him so much time here as he tries to... He just doesn't want to take the engagement on it, but it looks like this is going to happen before the upgrades have actually finished during all of this. And they finished during the engagement. Oh, those Ultralisks move forwards with the Banelings in tandem to kill off the entirety of Dayshi's army.
Yeah, 66 Lings, and this may be game over now. Dayshi went on creep, and Dayshi got shut down on creep. And look at the supply differences, 74 additional Lings. And no 4th base means no income for Dayshi, who is not mining from his main and natural. And Snoot's absolutely wild economy, his fantastic production. It is just remarkable here. It's a fantastic game from Snoot.
Yeah, deja vu as he evacuates that base once again. There are Banelings there. I mean, any trade he would get with Burrow Banelings would be fantastic, but he's just looking for the big connection later on. Lings don't even really have to run forwards here, because he knows his opponent is stuck on only 3-ish, well, I say 3 bases, but they're almost mined down, so...
Yeah, Dayshi needs that 4th up and running pronto. But unfortunately, there's a borrowed Zergling, I think, underneath it. There's even a trap with Banelings if the units come down and clear it out. Yeah, I'm trying to... I mean, Dayshi just needs a 4th. That's the most important thing right now for the game. He needs a 4th base. He goes there, he's like, oh. The Reaper's like, why was I built here? I don't want to fight Ultralisks. I can't fight Ultralisks.
This is really unfortunate here for Dayshi. Oh, that queen. No! Oh, well. Now, this is looking really hard for him. He wants to take a base in the middle of the map, but even that's not going to be available.
All right, well, Dayshi's got another army that's rebuilt from the scraps leftovers that he has in the bank. And Snoot's ready to fight again, I suppose. Maybe a big morphin of additional Banelings or something, but I'm pretty sure he's ready to go.
Anything he wants, man. Anything he wants. Snoot is playing like a rocket as he's looking to now punish this 3rd base. He knows his opponent's entire army is in the wrong position because of it was pressuring that creep down in the south.
SUVs. Oh, no.
Ouch, 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 ow. Okay.
I think Snoot's toying with his opponent a little bit now. He's borrowing Banelings in the mineral line. He's got borrowed Banelings everywhere now. Just kind of securing the win. And this is a very proud victory here. Go on. Come on. Pull it over. Come on. Be a showman, Snoot. Sacrifice yourself, Dayshi, for the greater good, which is the viewer experience.
We like burrowed Banelings.
Everyone's saying, Dayshi, I think you're going to lose soon. Just let us see some more explosions.
Oh, we get a few in the middle of the map. And these 2 Ultralisks are in no man's land. They may end up dying pretty quickly. But other than that, Snoot's just running him ragged. There's really not a whole lot of opportunity here for Dayshi, aside from him killing that base up to the top right, which is a nice pickup.
Come on. Be sitting on it. Come on, bigger. Come on, Snoot.
Oh,
they're on the edge. Juicy.
Yeah, juicy, man. 45 Banelings gone down during all of that, and so many
more Banelings. He's going to end this one with a big explosion. 401 Zerglings have been killed in this game.
Dude, screw Zerglings. Just Banelings exclusively.
All right.
Just crash in.
He is going to crash in. He's going to do it in style. With a Norwegian flag in one hand and a Baneling in the other. Let's go, Snoot.
He crashes them against that Thor, and this Bio trying to micro back against this torrent of Banelings is going to have a really, really hard time. Dayshi holding on for dear life, but unfortunately his life's going to come to an end here as Snoot. There you go, GG, well played, as he advances on 2-1.
Very good games from Snoot. Just everything was done right. He's playing fast. He's able to micro and he's able to macro in simple terms, and he is killing it, and I am very excited for this winners match.
Oh yeah.
Jack G, who we know is great, has shown weakness a little bit versus Zerg, especially here in the round of 32 where he did drop 2 games for the live Zerg and Nurtio. But Snoot versus Jack G, yes, bloody please.
Oh yeah, man. Snoot's looking good against Terran, and he may even be able to give Jack G a run for his money in this next series.
And then, of course, we have the rematch from Seat Story Cup where they played twice,
Exactly.
Grubby and Dayshi.
Yeah, 2-1, 2-1, both to Dayshi during all of that. So this is a real... I said it at the very beginning of the broadcast. This is a very dynamic and diverse group. A lot of interaction between these players very, very recently. And any way it could have gone is just good. So I'm looking forward to this.
Snoot, the better player on that stage there in this series, just played a great series. Really happy for him there.
All right, well, that concludes our second series of the day. We now know our next 2, as we have Jakshi going up against Snoot. Will we have a second European Zerg advancing in first place? I mean, this is entirely feasible here for Snoot, I think.
I think it's... I would be surprised if Snoot didn't advance from this group. Let's just say that.
All right, well, let's hear from the winner himself, advancing on to the next game. In that winners, it is Liquid Snoot.
Congratulations. Fabulous game in the end, but didn't start off the way that maybe you thought it would. Were you surprised by Dayshi's audacious attack at the start in game 1?
Kind of. Dayshi is a player that plays a lot of the same safe macro-oriented style, so I wasn't expecting him to 2-racks. It would make sense since he has his injury that the games should be as short as possible. So yeah, in retrospect, it wasn't that surprising.
Okay. I mean, how did you pick yourself up after that? Because you looked a little bit nervous, I have to say, at the start of the game. We talked before, and you said, just got to get over those nerves. But at the end of the game 1, did that fire you up, or were you just thinking, wow, what am I doing now?
No, I didn't really have any emotions throughout the series. Just tried to play like a robot. So.
Okay, did you see the cheeky wink that we got from Dayshi?
No.
Oh, good, okay, because I thought that might have unsettled you at one point. Game 2, much more straightforward for you, but he played a much longer game, but then in game 3, what was the difference for you?
Game 2 and the third one played out about the same, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, I just played my normal macro game, and I practiced this a lot with Bunny. So I'm quite comfortable playing games like this.
Okay, Todd said to me when we were watching, I think it was about 7.5 minutes in, you had 60 drones to 35. He asked me to ask you, does that make you the drone king over Rhett now?
Maybe.
You'll take that title.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'll have to talk to Rhett about it first. I don't think...
Negotiate the crown from him.
Yeah.
Okay. It's great to have you back in Europe. We missed you last year. It was great to see you in WCS America and doing really well early on. What was the difference for you, though? Because your season kind of fell away, didn't it, through the year? And I know that you, at one point, you were kind of considering retirement and you weren't sure what you wanted to do, and your game just didn't seem to be playing and working for you. What's been the difference at the start of this year? Because you've started really well.
I'm trying to play a little bit more for fun, I guess. Been trying to focus a little bit more on my health. It's like 50-50. Either I'm good or I'm sick. So I've been just trying to exercise more and eat a bit more healthy and travel less. Last year was a little bit too much traveling for me, so trying to take things a little bit more calm this year.
Okay, have you been speaking to TLO about it? Because he's suffered some of the same issues over the years, and he had a great year last year, and he's come back mentally very tough and physically very tough.
Yeah, I want to learn from TLO when it comes to those things. So yeah, I look up to him when it comes to taking care of oneself.
Well, good to have you here, and congratulations on the first game. Snoot is through to the first game, the winners' game in Group B, to see whether he can make it through to the quarterfinals. It would be his second consecutive year of doing so, but this time not in America. this time on home soil here in Europe. Let's catch up with Todd now, who's going to break down the game and just see how Snoot won in match number 1.
Thanks, Red-Eye. No, it's not going to be match number 1, not map number 1. The match did start with a bang. The 2 racks, ballsy move by Dayshi, caught Snoot off guard completely, and it was funny because the 2 overlords went right around those barracks and barely missed the 2 racks of Dayshi. So it was a clear win from there. He microed well enough to make sure he wasn't going to throw his advantage away with his builds. And I think he really caught Snoot off guard. So in the next game, Dayshi goes for the command center first. He tries to play greedy himself against the guy who you could call the new king of drones. I don't think he even needs to ask right for the name at this point. Snoot is way too manner. He should just take that name and keep it for himself. So in that game number 2, I'm not kidding you, very early on, I think it was the 8th minute, Snoot was on 80 drones against something like 50 SCVs. So he had done his job already. When Snoot gets in this position, I don't think he ever loses. So in that 3rd game, we had a different situation. We had a Zergling attack early on. In the meantime, Snoot was droning up. He went up to 60 drones against 35 SCVs. No SCVs were killed with the Zergling attack. But Dayshi stabilized in there for some time, and then Snoot had to use a lot of drones to make new buildings and all that. And they went into this long game where more than half of the map was covered with creep. And they basically maxed out, with Dayshi having his 3-3 before Snoot. And now we're going to take a look at that moment where both players are maxed out and they're looking to get an engagement as good as possible. So if we look at the worker count and the army supply, we can already do a bit of a comparison. Dayshi has actually a lot more army supply here. So you could say he's at advantage, but he really is not, because Snoot is closing in on his own 3-3. He has adrenal glands on the way. He's adding another ultra. He's morphing in a lot of Banelings. He mixed very, very well between Banelings, Zerglings, Ultras, and all that to make sure he could take the fights well. For Dayshi, let's look at Dayshi's vision, actually, how scary this entire map looked for him. There is creep everywhere. How does he attack? He has to step on creep. So he steps on creep, and you step on creep, and because you have no choice. Somebody actually made the joke to me during the games. Of course he's going to, I think it was Red-Eye, of course he's going to step on creep. Where else is he going to go? Is he going to leave the map through there? No, he's not. He has to step on creep. So now you're trying to get a good engagement, Dayshi, and we can play it from here and see how it happens. I'm sorry you're going to have to relive this, but you get over here and you try and scan a little bit for tumors, I think. Well, actually, maybe you can talk a little bit since you're here. I guess that will be the whole point. What do you think was going to happen here? What kind of composition were you expecting? And did you expect that he was on 2-2? Did you notice that he was closing in on his 3-3?
Yeah, I know he was on 2-2 at this point, but there was so much creep, and I know I had no energy on my CC to scan.
Oh, you didn't?
Just now.
Yeah.
So that's why I waited so much. And then I just wanted to kind of not take a bad engagement. And didn't work out too well.
Yeah, so how does that work? It's just about the concave, like the splits, the positioning before the fight begins. Like you want him to engage into you, obviously, right?
Yes.
And you need to pre-split before the fight begins, right?
Yeah, it's really tough because actually I didn't see these parts of the army just there. I thought everything was there.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that was my big mistake. Because then I tried to split, take all my marines put it there, and I just moved everything over there.
Tell me, how did you feel at that very moment?
Bad. Bad.
Funka with the great job during the analysis as well, I have to say. The Baneling's going to get in there, they're going to crush your army. After a deficit like this, when he's on this many bases, you fall down to 130 supply, you can guess he's going to remax very, very quickly. Is there any way you can come back here?
Yes, I know, like, in this position, when you fall down at 120 and you know that you barely kill anything, I'm like, well, it's going to be tough, but it's possible if you miss up. But yeah, after I was good at that and I didn't even deny this base,
yeah.
I was just like, maybe, and let's try to do something. But
I have a question. Is it not worth it to do 1 or 2 medivacs on the other side of the map so that for him it's going to be very hard to split? Or you expect to get him there quickly enough with the creep spread and vision he has? Because like I was thinking, even that, in particular that base over here, it's like very exposed. So I was thinking why doesn't he drop? But I guess I see the entire map and I'm not nearly as good as you in TVZ.
Yeah, normally you drop, but my multitask is not so good recently due to my small problem. But that's why I cheesed game 1 because I just wanted to get a free win. And then, yeah, that's why I didn't drop.
Okay, it's not related to the game. We know what happened from there, so we're not going to make you relive that again. I just have one question. I know Red-Eye does the interviews usually, but I almost said in the preview that you have the best TVZ in Europe. And one part of me thinks that. I think right now you're not in your best shape because of your physical condition. What do you think?
What do I think about my TVZ?
Yeah, what do you think about your own TVZ? Do you think he's the best in Europe or not?
It's tough to say, I think. Do we count the Koreans?
No, not just the Europeans.
Then I think I'm equal with Bunny.
Okay. But you guys are the two best.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's going to be it for the analysis and the one question interview that has Dayshi here at the end. Let's go and check in with Red Eye.
Thank you very much to Dayshi and Todd, and of course Funker. That's the French connection there, bringing us the analysis of game number 2 in Group B. We'll be back very shortly with our third game. It's a winners match. Who's going to go through to the quarterfinal? Is it Snoot from home territory, or is it the new man from Korea, Jack G? We'll find out very shortly. Don't go too far away. Keep your tweets coming. They will feature as part of the show, of course, and make sure you include the hashtag #WCS. Let us know who's going to win Group B. We're about to find out.